Hey everyone, I'm at the back, way in the back of Elmwood Memorial Cemetery in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you can see here, there's some train tracks. And it's very fitting that this grave is near the tracks. This is the grave of J.W. Joyner. And the story is very interesting on what led up to and including his death. So let's sit back and enjoy this one. So Mr. and Mrs. Joyner lived in Winston-Salem, which is about an hour north of Charlotte. Mr. Joyner was a railroad conductor for the line from Charlotte to Mooresville, and then from Mooresville to Winston-Salem. So many times he worked late. You know, his wife didn't think much about it. But it turns out he was having an affair with a very young woman. Mrs. Joyner found out and went to confront that woman. That woman and Mrs. Joyner met, and she indicated that she had no idea that J.W. Joyner was married, but she did tell him that they were planning on getting married in a week and going out west. J.W. Joyner was going to take a job on the west rail line. So once this woman finds out, she tells her family, and her family is, absolutely furious. So is the woman. Her name was Miss McCord. Miss McCord writes Joyner's wife that, again, she had no idea he was getting married, and I never want to see this guy again, and, nothing but bad things should happen to this guy. Miss McCord's father and brother write a letter to J.W. Joyner himself, and basically, call him every name in the book, and basically said, if we ever see you again, we're gonna take matters into our own hands. I mean, it was, the McCord family were just absolutely furious. So Mrs. Joyner, after those letters are received, she confronts her husband and says, what the hell's going on? And he becomes furious and tries to kill her by cutting her throat, but she gets away. So she leaves, and then J.W. Joyner leaves. He goes to work, so he's going between Mooresville and Winston-Salem and Charlotte, right? Mrs. Joyner goes back to her house in Winston-Salem. So a few days later, she needs to go to a doctor, for a checkup or whatever, and she takes the train into Mooresville. Once she gets to Mooresville, there's a letter waiting for her from Mr. Joyner. And the letter basically says that he never wants to see his wife again, but he will continue to support her financially, which is weird, right? But okay, whatever. He basically says he never wants to see her again. He ruined a good thing and whatever, and she, she just got in the way. So while she's reading the letter, another rail worker comes in and says, "Hey, are you Mrs. Joyner?" And she's like, yeah, that's me. And he goes, I hate to tell you, but your husband was just killed. So he was working the rail line. He was riding on the side of a rail car. When he slipped, he hit a telephone pole and then rolled under the train and was killed instantly. So she's kind of really upset, even given all the stuff that this guy's done to her over the past several weeks, right? She's still very upset. So when news gets out to, you know, the McCord family and Mrs. Joyner's friends and family and the newspaper. They're all kind of saying, well, you know what, the guy was a real piece of work, so he definitely got what he deserved, right? The only person who was really upset was his wife, and she was the recipient of all his, you know, disgusting deeds, right? So it's kind of ironic. It's definitely a case of karma. No one really felt sorry for this guy. But there you have it. That's the story of J.W. Joyner and his short affair that led to, well, didn't lead to his death, but it is a short affair that resulted in death. I can't read a lot of this. I will post it. I think this says here, "Thy will be done." Down here, J.W. Joyner killed by accident at Mooresville, North Carolina, September, I believe that's 1907. I cannot read the rest. I will definitely put that. I'll post that. I believe it says age 37 years. And on top, this is completely unreadable here, but I will do my best. So that's the story of J.W. Joyner. It's very fitting that he's actually facing the railroad tracks. I'm sure he doesn't mind. Again, we are way, way in the back of Elmwood Cemetery. This is an amazing cemetery, a lot of nice monuments, very well kept. A lot of stories to be told in here. I apologize if you hear any noise. They're doing a lot of work right here. And the rail yard, I believe, is just up a ways, so I've been hearing a lot of trains and horns. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for listening to the story of J.W. Joyner. Until next time, thanks.